wonderful about this is to help boost your immune system. It's one of the plants that's amazing. And it's in the cone family, so they'll call it the purple coneflower, but there's also other coneflowers, including Mexican hat and other colors of coneflowers. But the purple one is the Echinacea purpura, or Angostofina. Another fun thing, along with our grapevines, that we try to train to go behind is our fig tree here. That's 3 years old now and loaded with beautiful figs. So people think that these can't grow in winter in Utah, but these come from the Italian Alps, so that's why this is one that has really grown well. Here, under our beautiful black mulberry, this is the youngest black mulberry tree we have here, and we have a white mulberry as well. Underneath, we plant all sorts of little plants. We've got beautiful borage right here. We've got calendulas coming up. We have a gorgeous ground cover of sweet potato, little strawberries, and then what we call our living mulch carpet of beautiful flax right here. You see this gorgeous little flax, which is great for us to eat, but it also feeds nitrogen to the microbes into the soil that then turn around and feed your plants more nutrient-dense food. This is what we call our Zone 1 kitchen garden. And the kitchen garden catches water off the roof when there's rain, and it comes down on contour and winds like a snake through here on contour. And that's where the water would flow, or you could actually put your irrigation through level, winding through this kitchen garden. The ground was covered with 12 inches of wood chips, grew the most amazing soil full of fungi. You saw little mushrooms when it rains. We use that good soil to build the beds. These are just ground level beds right here. And the soil that's growing in here is so amazing, full of everything alive. So when you dig down into this beautiful rich black gold, you've got worms, you've got all sorts of beautiful living things in here. Look at the baby potatoes. Isn't that fun? But you see, this was sandy soil. Now you've got gorgeous living soil with life in it. That's what you want to raise in your garden. You want to raise soil. You're not just growing vegetables, you're growing soil, living soil like a forest, humus floor. And all those microbes are what are the microbiota for the plants, because we have them in our digestive tract. They have their digestive tract in the soil, and that's the only way the plant can be fed fertilizer, is from these beautiful microbes in the soil. So we have our Canopy tree, which is picked specifically not only to create filtered light and shade this whole kitchen garden Zone 1, but he's also white willow bark, which is the inner bark which make aspirin from. So he's a pain reliever. His branches, when you put them in water, actually create growth hormone to help other plants grow. So he has so many great values. And then this is 6 years old. He was just a little tree at the nursery. In 6 years, he grew this fast. So he's got a lot of value, this amazing white willow tree. So that's why we picked him in our design as our canopy tree. Here we have another cover crop, which is a buckwheat. And you know you can eat that for cereal in the morning, but make sure you sprout it or ferment it or soak it before you ever eat grains like that because of the coating around them. He's got beautiful tomatoes right there. You can see a little tomato that's ripening in this bed. We've got peppers also in this bed that are about to flower. And then he's got these beautiful sunchokes that I kind of invented because in Utah it's so hot and dry that when all these little plants were young, and I'm not talking annuals, even the little perennial berry bushes and trees, there was no shade, and it's so hot in this summer sun, 100 degrees, that I had to come up with temporary shade. I first tried sunflowers because I love the bees and the birds that come with sunflowers, but they weren't as easy to manage. Then I saw these Jerusalem artichokes, or sunchokes they're also called, and they grow straight up. They're great stalks for the plants to grow up because tomatoes are vines, but they're also great shade, and they're the best tuber food like potatoes that you can eat all winter long, dig them out in the winter. They don't freeze. So you can literally use these as shade. And they'll have beautiful yellow flowers in the fall. On top, just one flower, but we use them as quick growing shade. That's what this is, quick growing shade. I never heard of anybody doing that, just grapevines growing over in the desert, but I decided I want to have shade here in Utah. These are Niagara white grapes. They make a beautiful pink grape juice. After the first freeze, we'll harvest them and make a natural juice. We'll only add a little bit of our honey from our hive here. and that'll make beautiful juice. And along here, blackberries, raspberries. We have a native to Utah heirloom tree. This is called a Patawomic plum. Sometimes they've named it American plum, but when the Native Americans introduced this to the settlers, the pioneers in Utah, they found out about this heirloom Patawomic plum. And we can't wait till these ripen so we can taste our first Patawomic plum here, which is really wonderful. Because of the vegetation in this ecosystem that you've created, because of the trees and the plants, the cover crop, ground cover, everything, you're getting such a wet coolness in here that things like tropical Polynesian taro root, turmeric, beautiful leaves, okay, ginger grows in this. So you can grow all these beautiful little plants, calendula, valerian, lemon basil. Everybody's happy, and here's another little carpet of cover crop of flax right here. And behind me, we've got buckwheat. Our lettuce now is going to flower, so it's bolting, but we've got beautiful sweet potatoes are coming up, and tomatoes are about to ripen. We've got all these beautiful plants in here are loving the coolness that we have with our wonderful spearmint right here. All these plants are loving this filtered light in here because they don't bake in the hot sun. They don't need as much water, and the cover crops are holding the moisture in the ground so it doesn't evaporate. And so it feels wonderful in here. It's like a little rainforest effect. You're creating a microclimate. And instead of rows of organic monoculture, that people are just growing vegetables in rows, I'd rather do this. My vegetables grow beautifully, my greens, everything. My herbs grow beautifully in here. Berry bushes grow well. And look at all the red catawba grapes straight up. Look at all those up there. Isn't that just amazing? All this food is all growing in layers of a forest in here. And they're all so happy. Aren't they beautiful? It's really wonderful to see what nature will naturally do. And so that's what we do in permaculture. We're letting nature do what it does best instead of controlling it. We learn from it and we work with it. And then we can see all the benefits, all these plants and all these insects and all the microbes and all the birds and the snakes and you name it. All of wildlife is in here and they're all balancing out together. They all know what they're supposed to do. So everything works great together here. You don't have problems like pesticides and diseases and all these other problems or overabundance of anybody. Everything is balancing out because it's natural. It's a natural ecosystem that's happening here if you let all the plants do what they want to do. So under here you'll see lots of beautiful plants that will grow in this filtered light like chard, like sorrel. We've got sorrels all through here. Little pepper here about to flower. Lettuce is on its way out, but we try to save as much as we can. And so in here you see all these different little plants with this lovely flax little carpet of mulch. It's what we call our living mulch. And they're under the filtered light of these trees, and they're being hidden by my quick growing shade of sunchokes hiding the west sun at the end of the afternoon that would be so hot, baking on these little plants. And so we can grow a lot of greens all through the summer, which everyone else really has a hard time. They're all just going to flower right now. But it's just a beautiful carpet with sweet potatoes there, kale there. Over here you've got more greens, sweet potato, beautiful sorrels are in here. They're just absolutely beautiful to see all this wonderful, even though it's really hot right now, they should all be wilting if they were in the hot sun. But because they're in here with this filtered light, it's partial shade, partial light. It's creating this atmosphere like you see in the rainforest. You'll see this effect. And I just love this. It's so beautiful to see. This was a Nanking cherry, one of our 35 berries. This one produced first. The most delicious little red cherries in the world in this little bush. So we have a few of these in the food forest. Over here, we have a mineral accumulating comfrey growing with tomatoes, giving them, as we call, chop and drop when these leaves are ready to give to, let's say, a little tree. We feed them to the tree, and that feeds minerals that will be decomposed by the microbes, and that will feed the tree the minerals that it needs to grow healthy and strong. And then here's our little thermostat. Outside it was 98 degrees, and it's 79 in here. There's a huge difference in temperature. There really is. This is what you're creating. You're keeping moisture, so you're able to grow things that normally wouldn't grow, like you saw that taro root. And everything is just lush and healthy and delicious. And then what we do is what's called the spectrometer. You do a test on nutrient density by the sweetness of the fruit. So when we test these, they test twice as much, twice as high as what you would get even organically grown. So where a tomato was a 9, in our food forest it was a 14. So there's a huge difference when you're growing like nature like this. And then you've got herbs growing in here. So I've got dill. This is lemon verbena. That's so beautiful and smells so delicious. Just a little bit of everything. We got tomatillos growing over there. They have the little yellow flowers. Just a little bit of everything with a beautiful living mulch carpet under it. So now we're going to take you, this is zone 1. We're going to go into zone 2, our food forest. This is a sumac that the Native Americans use, these sumac berries. This is called a smooth sumac, so it grows lower, and it's growing beautifully all across here. And that's one of the 35 berries we have here. So this year, we don't know what happened, but something hit our food forest, and it started to dry out lots of trees, fruit trees, as well as berry bushes. This one was all dried out, and it had to be cut back of all the dead, and now it's growing back. It's growing back beautiful. Little berries right there coming up. This is all new growth since he was hit in June. And we're so excited to see it come back strong. This is a native one that we bought from the Native Utah Association Nursery, the Reclamation Nursery, that helps us get a lot of native berry bushes and other plants. Something amazing in here, what people call weeds, herbalists know are medicinal medicine. So this particular amazing one huge specimen with the largest leaves you've ever seen in your life. When you look at the size of these leaves, they're huge, okay, with these beautiful flowers. This is called burdock or red dock. His root is actually purifying tea for your kidneys and your liver. So the burdock is an amazing specimen, and it's so huge and happy in this food forest. He doesn't want water, so we don't water him. A lot of these wild native plants that grow out in the deserts here of Utah, especially in compacted soil because they have deep tap roots, they actually don't want water. They're used to growing in the desert. This is a pear tree that the guy 6 years ago, this was my first rescued tree before I could go to a nursery and buy all the other kind of berry bushes and fruit trees. This guy put a pear tree outside, let the roots all dry up and die in August, and all the leaves were dead, and I went to rescue it, and it's amazing. 3 years later, it'll have the largest pears you've ever seen, and it survived all this time. It did so well. And under it, what we love to taste, these are the ones that are drying, so they're going to taste much better. You want to eat berries when they're drying like this. That's when they have all the sweetness, and then spit out all the seeds back in the ground. But this is when they have all that sweetness. So when you taste one of these, oh, it's so delicious. What's great, this is the second most nutritious berry in this food forest. The first one is a seed buckthorn, but this one has protein, lycopene, vitamins, minerals. This is high nutrient density. This is a great one that you just want to eat or make syrup of because it's going to give you all those nutrients to boost your immune system, make it strong. Beautiful trumpet flowers. As my best friend, 89-year-old farmer Grant always tells me, food feeds the stomach, but flowers feed the soul. We have golden. Those are the golden up there. And red trumpet flowers. It's really beautiful to see these vines grow. And they can grow up these trees, and that just adds more beauty. And there's a beautiful bumblebee. Hello, Bumble. My favorite have orange on their backs, but I like these little guys too. And he's loving that little sunflower. We have so many varieties of wild bees, native bees here. They're just beautiful. It's a hugel bed with logs in the ground, and it's amazing. You've got cover crop of buckwheat here. These are the actual seeds of the buckwheat that you can start harvesting right now. So you got this beautiful little seed right there of buckwheat. It's a wonderful ground cover. And then you've got another ground cover. This is a cover crop of sweet potatoes. You've got beautiful beans in here that are literally what? Climbing all the way up as far as it can go. That's what beans like to do. You've got the quick growing shade on the south side of my sunchokes right there. You've got gorgeous nasturtium flowers right here, which are edible and very spicy. These beautiful, beautiful flowers and these beautiful leaves of nasturtiums. I love them throughout the garden. And then you've got a Patagonia plum right here. And I know he had a little plum. There he is. He's got a few little plums on him, though he's only 2 years old right here. He's got little baby Patagonia plums. Behind him is a buffalo berry, another native to Utah. He'll have little, tiny red little berries. This is an heirloom to our neighborhood of 40 years, plus peach tree right there. And that's what we love to grow. And then up here, let's pan. We have our wonderful white mulberry, was loaded with white that turned lilac. Mulberries all over the sky. If you look up at the sky, look at all this. It was all loaded with mulberries. So you've got some blueberries right here. Behind a golden currant, and under, look at this gorgeous sky. This is called a black locust. And he grew from a little stick, 12 inches tall, so skinny than my finger, into this in 6 years. Isn't he beautiful? He does a great canopy cover as well that help the plants do really well. And then under here, where we have our nursery right there, there's our beehive. Our little busy bees are making so much honey. The 2 largest deep boxes on there are full of honey. They're like 100 pounds. So we gave them a medium box for the queen to keep making brood. Aren't they beautiful though? And they're so happy. And then you've got these beautiful elderberries. These aren't ripe yet. We're going to make elderberry syrup this winter. And then you'll see the ones that are ripe under the netting over there, so we get to save them. Otherwise the birds would love to eat them all. And we're going under our 6-foot-plus tall fennel bush. Look at the size of this beautiful fennel. Isn't he gorgeous? We have to support him because he gets so heavy. He's going to fall over, but when you smell the licorice smell of this, these are all seeds of fennel right there. And he's so potent because of the nutrient density we're getting. So this is our Bing cherry tree. He was loaded all the way up those tall branches. So if you want to pick cherries, and there's a cherry picker there, and you don't want to have to climb trees, you need to thin them out and prune them back down lower, because that's what they do. But you see how we've created this amazing shade with all the mints growing and other plants underneath? All the grapevines are growing, and look at all those grapes hanging from him right there, as well as right there. It's just beautiful to see. And then underneath, because it's growing nice and cool, we have these beautiful little called snowberries. Normally they came out and produced berries in December, but he started flowering again this summer, and there's little snowberries. It's so beautiful to see. And there's a little horehound that normally only grows in the desert. They used to make candy out of horehound like this. It's really soft, pretty plants. They come back every year right there. And then behind you, more sumac. This is a honey locust volunteer right there coming up. Catnip all through here. Alfalfa. We have on both sides these little pods that are the seeds of the daikon radish. But when they're tender and green, you eat them instead of the radish, and they're really pungent. But here are the little seed pods, so it reseeds itself every year with these little tiny, tiny seeds. And so we just let them drop to the ground, but you can harvest lots of seeds yourself. We have 2 little berries. One is tiny over there called a jubi berry, and here's a gumi berry. And a little Japanese lady came to tour this morning. She says, I know jujube berry. They're wonderful. She was so excited to actually see one here. And because everything grows so big and beautiful here, what normally the size of a black currant is this. That's as big as a black currant gets, we think. Well, not in this garden. since the second year, every year, our black currants have grown to this size. You look at this size. That's really big and beautiful. Gorgeous black currants. Look at this one. Look at the size of that one. You see? Everything grows huge in this garden because of all the natural things that are acquiring. So everything grows big and beautiful. It's really wonderful. Look at the size of this gorgeous comfrey. Although we've chopped and dropped it and taken all the leaves to feed to this d'Anjou pear above it, this is how big it grows back over and over again. It comes back this big and strong with the hugest leaves. You see these humongous leaves of comfrey, full of minerals. Then we feed that to this d'Anjou pear tree right here. All these beautiful comfreys. This is another almond tree. This is all-in-one sweet almond. He's just starting to open right now, right here. But look at the size of these almonds. Behind the beautiful pond where, because we have moisture under here, we like to put, and there went a cute little garter snake in there. We like to put all the yarrow and the kinds of plants that like the cool moisture in here, and they do really well. Over here you've got another nurseration of a really beautiful color right here. When you look at this gorgeous yellow, they come in all different colors, reds, orange, yellows. Just beautiful nurseration. It's just so gorgeous. And those are edible. Then watch out here, he's got thorns, but he's a native drought resistant, but he's also a nitrogen fixer, and he has these cute little red berries right there. Few left. It's that later in the year right now. But that is a native to Utah buffalo berry. And underneath, the bees are happy right now because everybody's blooming. We have our sage, and we have our beautiful mints all along the edges of our beds and all along the edge of the garden. These gorgeous, these little, look like pipe cleaners, are the little flowers that'll turn into seed. But what happens is when you've got all these flowers, you also have a million bees of all different sizes and shapes. Do you see the tiniest ones flying around? That's a medium. But there's the miniature little tiniest ones in here. They're so beautiful to see so many sizes, shapes, and colors of bees. They love these mint flowers every year at this time. On the other side of the plum tree, we have this gorgeous, this is, remember the red dock? This is the yellow dock or curly dock. It's full of minerals. So what happens, people complain, oh, the bugs and the birds and everything are eating all my plants. What do I do? The slugs, the snails, and all that. I'm like, give them something good to eat, and then they won't bother your silly vegetables. So high in mineral, grasshoppers, slugs, but if you don't water at night, they won't come out of the ground. But let them eat and munch on all this stuff, because I've got millions of these leaves. So here's the little sweetness here. That is a wild, delicious blackberry. That's what we're going to taste, okay? That has so much sweetness. So when they start to dry out a little bit too, they're going to be sweet. So let's try a couple here that are starting to get sweet. Moshe, you want to try? Absolutely. Okay, let's try. This one's going to be the sweetest ones, these little ones here, because they are drying. So that's when all the sugar comes in. When they're shiny like this, they're not as sweet. Taste that. Weren't the first ones really sweet? Now taste that one. Not as sweet.
Pretty close.
I know.
A little less,
I'm very picky in here. That's your fungi doing their decomposing work under the ground, right? In the living soil. This is their flower. That little mushroom, because you have moisture in here. That's their flowers right there. And isn't it beautiful with a little carpet of cover crop right there? Keeping the moisture in from evaporating. It's just so amazing what you can create when you know what you're doing with nature. Just let it do what it was programmed to do. And under here we have a row. All these are our gooseberry row, but they've already ripened and disappeared. Sorry, you guys. But we have all these gooseberries along here, and they like the coolness in here of the shade. They really love that. So these are all little gooseberries. They look like little green see-through Chinese lanterns, but you wait until they have little thorns, so watch out. You wait till they turn bright purple and they're ready to fall off the vine. They're very high in vitamin C. A lot of the berries are really full of vitamin C. We've got our beautiful golden raspberries spreading out everywhere. These are all golden raspberry plants. They've already produced their first crop. So now we're going to get the second crop. The new growth is coming in, and we'll get a second batch of golden raspberries. So you can see they're starting to produce right here. Through here, with a hardy kiwi growing up the trellis, there's our beautiful red cornelian cherries right there. Aren't they gorgeous? They're the most beautiful color that you've ever seen in your life. Look at those gorgeous red cornelian cherries right there. That's just something you don't see every day. Most people are like, I've never even heard of it. What are you talking about? There's 35 kinds of berries in this food forest I've collected. I'm getting my omega-7s right now on these beautiful 190 different component little berries called sea buckthorn berries. They are beauties. This is our third year in a row. And this is the teenager. No, this is the teenager here. You look all the way up and it's got all those berries up there. This is the mother that's growing inside the peach tree. If we can create an ecosystem like this that sequesters the carbon and the pollution, it cools the planet down 20 degrees, as we've proven. It also will help the hydrology cycle so we're not in flood, drought. It helps all the climate problems, the erosion, the lack of resources like water and other things. What we're doing is we're letting nature do the work. So this 6-year example of a food forest